the top 50. And just like that, the whole tournament shifted on its axis. This wasn't supposed to happen. With Carlos Alcaraz already withdrawn before the fortnight even started, Sinner was the last line of certainty in an increasingly uncertain draw. He was supposed to be the anchor, the man everyone else had to figure out how to beat. Instead, he's watching from the sidelines after losing in 5 sets to Juan Manuel Cerundolo, a match where his body clearly wasn't cooperating with what his mind wanted to do. When the number 1 seed exits before the 3rd round of a Grand Slam, it doesn't just create an opening, it creates a vacuum. And nature, as they say, abhors a vacuum. Someone is going to fill it. The question that every player still standing in Paris is quietly asking themselves right now is whether that someone could be them. Think about what this means for the record books. A Grand Slam winner who isn't Sinner or Alcaraz. The last time that happened was 2023. 2 years of those 2 players absolutely dominating the biggest stages in tennis, collecting trophies like they were routine, making everyone else feel like they were competing for second place. That era of certainty just cracked wide open on a clay court in Paris, and nobody quite knows what comes next. Look at the section of the draw that Sinner vacated. Felix Auger-Aliassime is the only top 10 player left standing in that entire half. Think about that for a second. One top 10 player in half of a Grand Slam draw. That is not a normal situation. That is the kind of bracket configuration that players spend careers hoping for and rarely ever get. Ben Shelton is already out. Sinner is out. Alcaraz never even made it to the first round. The landscape for this tournament looks nothing like what anyone projected 2 weeks ago when the draw was made. Players who came to Paris hoping to survive a few rounds are suddenly doing mental arithmetic about whether they could actually be holding that trophy at the end of the fortnight. And in the middle of all this chaos, there's Frances Tiafoe, playing some of the most complete tennis of his Grand Slam career. Looking not just comfortable, but genuinely dangerous. His opening match told you everything you needed to know about where his head is right now. Khachanov is not an easy first-round draw. Not even close. That match went 5 sets, and Tiafoe didn't flinch. He found a way through grinding out the kind of win that separates players who talk about mental toughness from players who actually have it. That match alone would have been enough to give most people confidence. But Tiafoe wasn't done making statements. Grigor Dimitrov in the next round. Straight sets. Clean, clinical, convincing. Dimitrov is a former world number 3. A player who has beaten the best in the world on multiple occasions. And Tiafoe sent him packing without dropping a set, without a drama, without even really being extended. That's the kind of performance that sends a message through an entire draw. People remember 2021 at Roland Garros. Tiafoe reached the quarterfinals that year, and it felt like a breakthrough moment, like the beginning of something bigger. And it was, in a sense, he kept building. He reached the Final Four at Wimbledon, which remains his deepest run at any major. But he's never quite found that next gear at a slam, never quite put together the full fortnight that his talent has always suggested was possible. This time feels different, not just because the draw has opened up, but because of how he's moving, how he's competing, how he's talking about the situation. There's a composure there that hasn't always been visible in the biggest moments of his career. When he sat down with TNT Sports, and they asked him directly whether the absence of Sinner and Alcaraz changes the atmosphere around the tournament, he was refreshingly honest. He said he'd felt it before they even started asking questions. He acknowledged what everyone in tennis is thinking, but few will say out loud. Yes, this is a significant opportunity. But he was also quick to add something that deserves respect. He pointed out that most of the losses he's taken throughout his career haven't come against Alcaraz or Sinner. The players who have beaten him, the walls he's run into, most of them are still in this draw. He named Djokovic and Zverev specifically as players who would be looking at this moment with serious intent. That kind of self-awareness is actually more encouraging than pure confidence would be. He's not getting ahead of himself. He's not acting like the trophy is already decided. He's treating this as an opportunity while being honest about the challenges that still exist. And those challenges are real. His next match is against Jaime Faria, a Portuguese qualifier who has not dropped a single set in Paris so far. Nobody gave Faria much chance of making it this far, and yet here he is playing freely, without pressure, with nothing to lose. Those are sometimes the most dangerous opponents you can face, because their mind isn't cluttered with expectation. If Tiafoe gets through that, the fourth round brings either Matteo Arnaldi or Rafael Colignau. Neither of those names would stop your heart, but in a grand slam on clay, on a given day, anyone can be dangerous. Tiafoe knows that better than most. Then, potentially, the quarterfinals, and the names that could be waiting there make for genuinely fascinating reading. Matteo Berrettini, who has reinvented himself and found something resembling his old level in recent months. Francisco Compsona, Martin Landelos, and, of course, Juan Manuel Cerundolo, the man who ended Sinner's tournament and who clearly has no fear of the moment.
A potential semi-final against Felix Auger-Aliassime would be one of the most compelling matches of the fortnight. Two players with enormous talent, both hunting their first Grand Slam final, both understanding exactly what this moment represents. That match would not be short, and it would not be quiet. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because that's what moments like this do to you. When a tournament opens up this dramatically, your mind starts running forward, building hypotheticals, imagining scenarios. The truth is simpler. Right now, in this moment, Frances Tiafoe is playing well. He's in a section of the draw that nobody expected to look like this. And he has an opportunity that might not come around again in quite this form. He's 30 years old. He's been on tour long enough to know that the window for moments like this isn't infinite. The field won't always be this disrupted. The draw won't always align like this. The combination of his own form and external circumstances won't always converge the way they appear to be converging right now in Paris. Whether he takes it is still very much an open question. Tennis has a way of humbling the optimistic. But the ingredients are there in a way they haven't been before. And for the first time in a long time, when people talk about who could win Roland Garros, Frances Tiafoe's name belongs in that conversation in a way that feels earned rather than wishful. The tournament has a new shape. Nobody knows exactly what that shape becomes by the final Sunday. But right now, one thing is certain. This is wide open. And Tiafoe is right in the middle of it.